Here's a Chassidic story. Once there was a simple poor Jew in the Ukraine. He lived in a sort of a distant place, alone among non-Jews. And once in a while, he would go to see the Baal Shem Tov. But once it happened that on a Thursday, the carriage of the Baal Shem Tov stopped in front of his house. Couldn't believe his eyes. There came out 10 pupils and the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov said, I'm just on my way. He said, I don't believe it. The Baal Shem Tov is in my house. I'm so humbled. The Baal Shem Tov said, I'm on my way to somewhere. We all are, but we wanted to stop here just to have something to eat. Do you have anything to eat? The fact is, he didn't really have anything to eat, but he did have a few chickens, and they had the eggs and a few other things. And so he slaughtered the chickens, and his wife, they had some wheat, made the bread, and he borrowed some things from next door neighbors, potatoes or whatever, and he made them to eat. And they stayed up the whole night. They learned. In the morning, Friday, the Baal Shem Tov said, have you got anything for us for the way? And so what was left over from the previous day, as he gave to them. Meanwhile, he himself has like 7 children, and he gives them also a little bit of the food, but there's such amazing guests that he's got, so they also eat. The Baal Shem Tov said, we decided we're going to stay here for Shabbat. Oh, I'm so happy. So you don't have to worry about us. We'll take care of ourselves as far as a place to sleep. He said, no. Some will sleep in the carriage. Some will sleep in this. We'll unhitch the horses. Anyway, but what about food? What's he going to do for food? So he has a cow. So he slaughters the cow. He slaughters the cow. And his wife makes the meat. And he borrows a little bit more the vegetables, something from his next door neighbors. They're already angry because he already owes them a lot. And the grocery store won't give him any credit whatsoever. But somehow or other, his wife gets flour and she makes bread. Wonderful Shabbos. They never had such a Shabbat like that. And he also has a minyan. And the Baal Shem Tov brought together with him a Sefer Torah. Here reading the Torah and the words of the Baal Shem Tov and the singing and the dancing and the happiness. Motzi Shabbat. And the Baal Shem Tov says, do you have anything left? And we want to eat a meal before we leave in the morning. He gave them something he had, whatever was left over from the day. In the morning, he said, just before we leave, you have anything? He said, I don't have anything. Search around. He found one sardine was left in like a can. He said, very good. He cut it up into 12 pieces. Everybody got a piece of the sardine and he left. Baal Shem Tov left, drove off into the horizon. And this Chassid is looking at the Baal Shem Tov go. And he said, goodbye, goodbye. Meanwhile, all of a sudden he hears his children are all crying. They're hungry. They didn't eat anything in the morning. They didn't eat anything last night. Shabbat, they ate pretty good. They ate, with the Baal Shem Tov and everybody, but now there's nothing left. Absolutely nothing. His wife is crying. So he doesn't know what to do. He goes to his next door neighbor and says, listen, you already owe us so much. We're not giving you any more. They're starving. You told us this before. The grocery store won't give him anything. He hasn't got any more animals to slaughter. He's got nothing. What's he going to do? He goes into his front yard and he raises his hands to heaven and he says, Rabbonu Shalom, I'm not praying for myself. I'm only requesting for my family. Why should they suffer? Haven't we suffered enough? And please, God, open up your doors of heaven and give us at least a blessing. We could have some food. And he falls down. He starts crying. About a half an hour later, suddenly the Baal Shem Tov, a big carriage stops in front of his house. The carriage stops in front of his house, and there come out 2 rich, opulent men with their servants, big, huge carriage with like 4 horses. And they come out and they say, can we stop here and rest for a little while? He says, listen, my friends, I'm sorry, I don't have any food. I can't give you can sleep here, but you haven't got anything. He says, food, we don't need food, we have food. Here, they clap their hands to bring out food. Says, we got food for you, for your kids also. We're only 1 day ride. We don't need all this food. His kids have to see the food. You can save some of the food. They eat it. This is a big miracle. God answered his prayers. And so they say to him, tell me, Jew, there's a book called we're on our way. We have a big argument between us. about we're dividing up we're liquidating all of our. We used to be partners. We're liquidating all of our business, and we don't know exactly how to divide things up. Well, this way, that way. We talk to different rabbis. Nobody knows. We have stocks, we have bonds, we have livestock, we have we have rights to certain things, and we've got the buildings, and we've got investments with it. We don't know how to divide everything up. So we're on our way to a big rabbi. They said, listen, do you know a book? There's a book called the Shulchan Aruch. You know the Shulchan Aruch? He says, yes. He says, listen, let us tell you the problem. Maybe you can solve our problem. If it's to our satisfaction, is we'll give you 1% of everything, no problem. Sit down and they explain everything to him, this number, that number, that number. And he sits down and he thinks and he thinks and he thinks and he starts to understand, opens up a couple books. He's got books, books. After 15, 20 minutes, he says to them, listen, I think I have the answer. Right, they finish their meal. You've got the answer. He says, listen, you give him this, you give him that, you give him this percent over here, you give him that percent over there. He'll have the rights to this, he'll have the rights to that, he'll do this. They said, that's an amazing answer. That's just beautiful. That's just beautiful. Let's get this straight. He said, yes, we agree. Okay. We'll do it. We'll take it. We accept it. You get 1% of everything we've got. What's 1%? How much is the whole thing worth on all your? It's worth $300 million. $300 million. That means I get $3 million. He says, yeah, but we don't have all of it now. All we have is 50,000. You take this, but you saved us a big trip. We have to go another whole way. So suddenly he realizes, well, this is amazing. This is such a blessing. And the two people get in their carriage. They shake their hands. They repeat again the whole agreement that they made, and they leave. Half an hour later comes. All of a sudden, he sees another carriage coming, the Baal Shem Tov. The Baal Shem Tov's carriage comes out and says, oh, Baal Shem Tov, what an amazing miracle. These people gave me here. I want to give you half of what they gave me. The Baal Shem Tov, listen, he said, you don't have to give me anything. You can give me whatever you want to, but you don't have to give me anything. That is all belongs to you. So he said, listen, Baal Shem Tov, I just had one question. Why did you do that? You ate everything that I had in the house. My kids really suffered, there for a couple of hours. Why did you have to do that? Why couldn't you just bring these people and, give me the blessing? The Baal Shem Tov said, because in order to get that blessing, you had to pray for it. You had to ask for it. You had to make a vessel for it. Your whole life, you're just satisfied with what you've got. You never requested anything for yourself, for your family. You're always happy just to serve God, just to be a Jew. So that's wonderful, very good thing. You should be satisfied with what you have, but you should always desire. You should be happy with what you've got, but you should never be satisfied. You should also always desire and want more. If you don't get more, you should be happy with what you have. But on the other hand, you should do more. I saw that the only way that you would request for God something is if I took everything you had away, everything, and then you would have to really open up your heart and ask. Throw yourself on God for his blessing, and you see he gave you this blessing. The whole thing belongs to you. And so it is to us. We have to request, we want Mashiach now. Have a good day. God bless you all, and I'll see you tomorrow at 8:15.